Let's take a look at sizing and positioning an isolated Elementor Flexbox container. This question came up on another video. Somebody asked, well, what happens if you have four 33% wide containers and one of them gets pushed down to the next row? Well, if we click on it at the moment, the width is set to 25%, and under advanced, we've got it set to grow. This is discussed in a previous video and many other videos about how to deal with getting these containers to fit on one line when you have the extra gap spacing that would push them down. But when this one gets bumped to its own row, it suddenly doesn't work anymore. So I'll show you a few things that probably don't work just to show how tricky this is, and then I'll propose a solution, and then finally I'll show you something even better we've been working on. So if I click shrink, then it's going to shrink to 25%. So then I think, okay, I'll just make it 33% wide. And as you can see, vertical alignment is very hard with Flexbox. It doesn't work because up here we have three 33% wide containers, but we also have extra gap spacing. So if I click on the parent, as discussed before, we've got 60 pixels of gap in between. So we actually have 120 pixels that are subtracted from the overall available width. So these are 33% wide of the available width. But on this particular container, it's got enough space to do this full 33%, but now it's not lining up. So one idea would be just to try to guesstimate there. Now I'll make it 30. You maybe could get away with that. I suspect that if we size down, see that? It's not going to stay aligned because 33% or 30% of the viewport width is going to represent a different ratio. So that's not going to work. So what else could we try? We could try, how about some kind of margin trick? So we do 33% and then we fiddle with the margins. Maybe we set a negative right margin. That's not doing anything. Well, what it would do is if I had another one, it would scoot it over. So it starts pulling the next one over. So if I click on this, I just want to show you the types of things people try and struggle with. So that doesn't work. So then what if I do a negative left margin, like equal to the gap, right? What about negative 60? Or was it 50? I can't remember. So nope, that didn't do what I wanted. So now I'm starting to get frustrated, right? Oh, how in the world am I going to do this? So I will show you what I've tried. So first thing is, how would we even get this to center? If I click on the container itself, and I'm looking at the options I have available, I can align it to itself, right? I can play with these types of settings. If I go to layout, I can justify the content inside it. Now I have a lot of padding, so it's not moving much. But this is all relating to itself, right? It's not really relating to the parent. So if I click on the parent, then I can align the children. So I could justify content center. Now that's pretty close. It's just that my width is wrong. All right. So here's what I would suggest doing for some layouts. Watch this. So I'm going to just, I could click Command D. I never do that. I'm going to click that. Command D, Command D. Cool. I just learned a shortcut. So here's maybe what you could do is use empty placeholder. So I'm going to delete this. Now I could get rid of this border effect, right? I just did that so we could see it. So I'm going to turn that off. None. I'm going to copy that style. Go to the last one. I'm going to paste that style. So this would get that one, the last isolated one, centered as desired. Now you may be asking like, well, great, but what about on, say, tablet? There we go. You can see it still works on tablet, but what if we wanted this to be 2 up? So if I click on this, we'll set it to 45 in hopes that it will grow to about half the width. Works, but then we've got this problem because if I want the next one to be about 50%, and then I've got this, you can see this width stuff just is real fiddly and annoying. Like I want them, see, I have to play with the widths to try to even get them on the same one. Like I can't use 45 with grow. It turns out I need to use some smaller number. And then per device size, that can get really weird. This just proves that Flexbox alignment is very challenging. So anyway, you could find whatever number works for you. But here's the thing. On the empty ones, just go to advanced, responsive, and just hide them. So if you don't want them to show on tablet, just go figure out which ones you don't need. So like in this case, I wouldn't need either of those blank ones on tablet. So I would have, if I set my widths right, so I'm going to set that one to grow, and then I've got this guy, which I'll also set to 40 and grow, but when I preview it, they'll fit on the same line. So you can go through tablet, mobile, desktop, and then just click on the empty ones and hit advanced, responsive, and hide them where you don't need them as spacers. So that is one way to manage that alignment. Okay, obviously that looks like a headache. Let me show you an alternative I've been working on and am planning to release to the public soon. It's a pre-built building block. I showed a little bit of this previously. I want to show you how easy that layout would be to make in this. So I copy and paste my building block. We'll pretend we're on a new page. I go to the first column. It just starts with a starter column. I set the width to variable 33%. I duplicate it. I could use my new Command D or Control D. And that fourth one wraps. Look, it's perfectly sized, but I would like it to be centered. I click on the parent row. I go to justify content, center, boom, done. How long did that take? Less than 20 seconds to get my layout. This system is pretty bulletproof as far as I know. I'm really excited to share it with people soon. But yeah, anyway, hopefully that gives you some options for at least getting this position in the standard way. And if this was helpful, please consider subscribing. Thanks.